Welcome to Empowerment Technologies with Miss Icy.
Okay, good day everyone. So today we're going to discuss about the elements and principles of design. So in order for us to talk about an art composition intelligently, so we need to learn a little art vocabulary. So of course, most of these words we already know since grade school, but be absolutely sure you can use them correctly when you talk about art. So first, let's talk about the composition. So a composition is the artwork. When we talk about the composition, we generally talk about what makes up the work of art. So, but how do you begin to talk about it? So we need to break down into parts. So in a composition, we actually divide it into three parts: the foreground, the middle ground, and our background. The foreground, it appears closest to the viewer. So to the viewer's eye or to the viewer's attention. So the background is perceived furthest from the viewer, while on the other hand, we have the middle ground. So it is located between both the foreground and our background. So how would you talk about composition in writing? So in this sketch, the tree or the bush on the right side of the composition is the foreground. The potted plant is located in the middle ground, and the composition of the house structure is in on our background. So you can see here our bush. So siya yung pinakamalapit sa viewer's eyes. So when you see this kind of sketch, you already notice na merong bush or merong tree malapit. So on the middle ground natin in between of the structure ng house natin and the tree or the bush is yung ating potted plant. So for that reason, we considered it as our middle ground. And the house structure farthest from the viewer's eyes, so it serves as the background. Okay, let's proceed to the elements of design. So the basic ingredients used by the artist when producing work of art are those elements of design. So yun yung shapes, form, values, line, color, texture, as well as the space. So for example, let's just imagine that we will make a burger or a beautiful piece of art for dinner. So I will need certain parts, ingredients. So as well as, if mag-create tayo ng ating artwork, we need those ingredients. So yun yung tinatawag nating elements of design. So, have the line, the shape, the value, the form, the space, and the color for us to be able to create a beautiful piece of art or work of art. So the element of design, so let's start with our shape. So for shape, it is an enclosed space defined and determined by other art elements. So nagde-define siya by the use of line, color, value, and texture. So shape can be categorized into two different types, which is yung organic and the geometric. So when we talk about the geometric, so first, we can see dun sa left side, the painting by Frank Stella. So it contains interlocking geometric. So it means yung shapes are created through the use of mathematics, or these shapes include mechanical shapes natin like the square and the rectangle. So we can obviously see na meron tayo ditong mga rectangle and square. So for that reason, we consider this as a geometric shape. So everything na gumagamit tayo ng shapes like circle, oval, triangle, square, rectangle, hexagon, octagon, and pentagon. So we considered it as geometric shape because we use shapes. On the other hand, on the right side, We have here the painting by James Wilker. So it shows an explosion of organic and cloud-like shape. So for organic, it is an irregular shape or one that might be found in the nature rather than our regular mechanical shape. So you can see we have here different lines and colors. So we don't use regular shape. So we don't use square, we don't use rectangle or any circle. We use lines here. And it gives us the illusion of an explosion ng mga lines, color, and yung forms natin. Okay, next one is the form. Okay, form is an element of art that is 3D or the three-dimensional. So when we say three-dimensional, it has height, width, and depth. So it also encloses volume. So for example, we have here a triangle. So triangle is a two-dimensional. So for that reason, we consider triangle as shape. On the other hand, we have here the pyramid. So pyramid is three-dimensional because it has weight, it has width, and it has depth. So example of forms include cubes, spheres, ovoids, pyramid, cones, and cylinders. Again, when we talk about form, it is three-dimensional. When we talk about 2D or two-dimensional, we considered it as shape. Okay, I have here an example of Bert Simpson. So I have here a 2D representation of him, and so this one we considered as form. Next one is the value. So value is an element of art that refers to the lightness and darkness. The value is a very special, important element in works of art when color is absent. So this is particularly likely with drawings, the lithographs, photographs, and as well as sculptures. So below we have the grayscale. So it is a series of spaces filled with the tints and shapes of one color, starting with our white or the lightest tint, and on one end and gradually changing into the darkest shades. So the last one here, which is the black. We have here black. So it's a range of colors from lightest to darkest, from white to the darkest shade or the black on the other. Next is the line. The line is actually a mark made by a moving point that has length and direction. So it's from a point, and then when we move it, so we consider a line. So it has length, and have the length, for example, 3 centimeters, and also it has direction. So it is also defined a space, and we create an outline or contour. It can define a silhouette, create patterns or movements, and illusion of mass or volume. It may be two-dimensional, as with pencil and paper, but it also can be a three-dimensional, as with wire, or implied by the edge of a shape or form. So we have here different types of lines. We have vertical, horizontal, diagonal, straight, or the ruled. We also have the controlled, the freehand, the parallel. So we have a lot of types and kinds of lines. So the color produced by light of various wavelengths, and when light strikes an object and reflects back to the eyes, it gives us the life of an artwork. So sabi nga nila, when you put colors in your artwork, it makes your artwork very lively, very alive, And most of the time, yung colors na ginagamit natin with our artwork really defines how the mood and the feeling of the artist. So for example, we create an artwork the very dark, still the viewers can see or can feel yung mood ng artist natin. So this color really gives moods, really gives life sa ating art. Next one is the texture. So texture is an element of art na surface, quality, or feel of an object. It's the smoothness, it can be the roughness, the softness, etc. So texture may be actual or implied. So you can see on the left side, we have the actual texture. So it can be felt with fingers. So there are artworks that when you touch, nahahawakan mo na medyo rough siya or meron siyang effect na pag hinawakan mo hindi siya smooth, or there's this kind of art wherein yung mga paints niya and colors ay naka-emboss. So we call it the actual texture. On the other hand, on the right side, we have the simulated textures. So are suggested by an artist in the painting of different areas of a picture. So it just represents yung metals, rock, and etc. natin. So dun sa ating picture, when you see, you can define the texture. But pag hinawakan mo siya, it's still smooth, but by just looking at the artwork, you can see that there is this feel on this object. Next one is the space. So the space is an element of art that refers to the distance or yung area natin. The distance or area between can be around, above, below, or within things. So you can see here, we have the distance of the two cats. Also, the distance ng ating hallway, even the distance ng kanyang mga column, wherein it gives us the idea of the area ng artwork niya. So, iyan yung mga different elements of design natin. On the other hand, we also have the principles of design. So if we use the burger example, we have the ingredients to make our burger. So as the artwork natin, we have the elements to make the beautiful piece of art. So we also have the preparation of the ingredients. So for example, on the burger, we need to grill the hamburger, saute the onions, shred the lettuce, melt the cheese, etc. On the other hand, if we do or create a beautiful piece of artwork, we also need that kind of preparation. So for that reason, we have the principles of design. The first one is the balance. So it is the arrangement or arranging the parts of the artwork equally or near equally in terms of visual weight on each side. So we have here the symmetric and the asymmetric. For symmetrical balance, it is the art element in a composition are balanced in a mirror-like fashions. So this is mirror-like. So it does not have to be exactly, but close. When you look at it, pag tinignan mo siya ng iyong mga mata, you can see that there is the mirror-like fashion that we call. So meron siyang pagkakamukha or similarity or sometimes exactly the same. So we also have the asymmetrical balance. It is the opposite of symmetrical, wherein you can see yung nandito natin, the left side is very different from the right side. Okay, so we have here different example, like the oriental poppy. We also have the rose window, which we have the symmetrical balance. We also have this one, the arrangement in the gray and black. So this is a portrait of the painter's mother. commonly known as The Whistler's Mother by James Whistler. So you can see the balance of the gray and the black in this portrait. Okay, so this one we can also see the balance. The art is Frangelico. So the balance, the small group of people in the foreground with the larger. You can see we have here people. So simpler building and wall shape in the background. You can see simple door, simple building, simple trees. So symmetrical balance is achieved because of the way the subject are arranged on either side. So you can see still there's a balance between the small groups of people as well as our background. Next principles of design is the rhythm and the pattern. So this one is the repeating the elements of design like the line, color, shape, form, the texture, the space to create movement or texture. So we repeat shapes, for example here, we repeat shapes, we repeat color, but on the other hand, we achieve the movement or the texture. Here, we have this optical illusion of the art moving because of that rhythm. So this work is a work of Pablo Picasso. So it used diagonal line, patches of colors, and varying space between shapes. So a dynamic rhythm is set by the artist, creating a sense of activity. So you can see the lines with two arrowhead wherein it just simplify or it give us the vibes of the movement or the rhythm na gustong iparating sa atin ni Pablo Picasso with his piece of artwork. Okay, this is an example of cut paper tessellation design. So it creates appearance of rhythm in this work. So like what we said, repetition of shapes, ni-repeat niya yung patches of colors, but still, it gives us the illusion of the movement ng ating artwork. Okay, next one is the unity and harmony. So for the unity and harmony, so it occurs when all the elements you put in your artwork parang work well together and look like they belong there, na parang they're really destined to be together. So even if you use different colors, different shapes, different patches of colors, still they belong there. They belong together. All parts of the design must agree in a feeling or mood. So this one is the same. So he used blues, yellows, and greens. So by using related colors, so remember blue and yellow make green. So the piece appears to be unified. So you can see the unity and the harmony in this piece of artwork. Even if you use different colors like the color blue, the color yellow, and the color green, seems like naging isa na lang siya. There is the blue there is the yellow, and there is the green, but you can actually see na nagkakaroon siya ng harmony. Next one is the movement. So movement is the art principle that uses some of the elements of art to produce the look of action or to cause the viewer's eye to sweep over the artwork with a certain manner. So the very famous The Starry Night. So look at the painting and concentrate on how your eyes bounce from one star to another. This is a very good example of how an artist can create a movement in a work of art. So we can see that Vincent van Gogh creates movement in the sky. So there is a real movement. He used shapes, colors to give us that view na parang nagmo-move yung sky niya. So for that reason, your eyes bounce from one star to another. Okay, next one is our contrast and variety. So it uses different type and sizes of lines, shapes, also spaces, textures, hues, and colors to bring interest to your design. So we can create contrast in our sizes, like from large versus small, like the illustration. We're in the hands of the father and the baby, so the large and the small. Also the shapes, the forms, the values. We can also create contrast using the colors, the textures, and also the line direction. So here is how we would analyze this work of art using the word variety. So Kandinsky, so this is a work of art by Kandinsky. He used a variety of overlapping lines, shapes, and colors to give this painting interest. So you can see we have a lot of lines here, different geometric shapes. Okay, so this contrast in the illustration, dito sa left, dito sa ating picture, is quite obvious. So notice the contrast ng light natin sa background, which is the wall. Then contrast niya with the dark foreground, which is this one, the tablecloth. So this is our background. So we have white and then dark yung ating foreground na tablecloth. And then the contrast of the dark shadows on the teapot. You can see the shadows of the teapot and the cup against the wall, and with the light of the same object against the dark window. So this piece of an artwork really give us an illustration of contrast. Okay, next one is the emphasis. So this emphasis create a disruption to the eye's movement in an artwork and develop a center of interest natin or focal point. So nagkakaroon tayo ng center of attraction sa isang picture. For example, let's go back to this piece of artwork. So you can see, so dito sa ating artwork na to, it emphasized the large black circle, which is a shape. So in the upper left corner of his work, so the object is different from everything. So different from everything else in the painting, and therefore nag-stand out siya. So you can see we have circle pero maliliit lang siya. We have a lot of lines and colors, and you can see this one. Wherein if you see this artwork, hindi pwedeng hindi mo siya mapansin. So this one is an example of emphasis. Okay, that's all for today about the elements and principles of design. Have a great day, everyone. Goodbye.